Hello and welcome to this Warcraft replay. It's going to be game 1 of this best of 2 from Group D of the WCA 2014. That was played around, oh gosh, I even forgot that. When was it played? August, was it? Somewhere around there. Yeah. Anyway, this is going to be an Orc versus Undead matchup. And not much to say, honestly. The map is on Amazonia. We do have a fairly standard build order from Fly so far. Of course, it's only the first minute, so can't talk too much. But since, I mean, there hasn't really been any deviations out of any Orc players in this tournament, so I can't imagine Fly being the first. So yeah, there is that. So it's probably going to be a Blade Master first. And yeah, pretty standard start for him. Meanwhile, WFZ did choose to go for that graveyard first, so it is going to be a rather late Altar of Darkness, as well as maybe Crypt Fiend after the second Ghoul. No Tomb of Relics just yet, but since, well, the hero's not coming out, there's actually no point for that. So yeah, WFZ's going for, how should I say it, a more secure playstyle. I mean, I don't know how to describe this one. This kind of build order, graveyard first, has always been, you know, in the pocket of undead players. I just don't know how to describe it too well. It's more of like, alright, normal undead play, since I got nothing to talk about until, you know, things actually start happening. Death Knight first, Crypt Fiend, there we go. So yeah, normally undead players go Tomb of Relics first, and you know, standard Altar of Darkness start. Some people might call that risky unless you're going like mass ghouls. Then you got pretty much no army to actually handle against maybe someone going for an early game cheesy kind of play, which is very rare in this level of play anyway. But yeah, you don't build Crypt Fiends until like maybe 3 minutes or so, and then yeah, then you start teching to tier 2, and then all that good stuff happens. All the undead mid to late game stuff gets underway, but this is more of a safe way of playing, since you actually have an army of Crypt Fiends and then you transition into tier 2. It's not that significant, honestly. Most players don't even go really aggressive anyway, and I don't know, it kinda hinders your great power as an undead player, honestly, since you get tier 2 much later than your opponents. And while looking at Fly, he did go for more of a hard farm play style. He did of course see the build order of WFZ, and he chose to go for very quick level 2. Maybe he will go for a harassment against a level 1 Death Knight, as of course WFZ did not actually fully clear this camp. He just went for the Sasquatch and get himself that Wand of Illusion as well as the Dust of Appearance. However, Fly playing it maybe a little greedily here, might be forced to back off as his Blade Master has reached fairly low health state and needs to be careful since he does not have a TB scroll. Anyway, it looks like Fly will be pushed away, and WFZ will claim this camp for himself. Definitely get himself that level 2 and get himself +6 claws, which definitely would have helped Fly if he picked that up himself, but well, in this case WFZ is in a much better position now that he knows that the Blade Master doesn't have an extra set of claws. Anyway, level 2 Blade Master, level 2 Death Knight. Yeah, things haven't gone too well for Fly just yet. I mean, he would have liked to have a hero advantage, but since, well, the Death Knight does seem to be a little ahead, it's not building too well for Fly, so he'll have to rely on his early tier 2, which is nearly done, and of course WFZ was a little later. Cobalt Taskmaster, what is it going to do? It is going to be taken away by WFZ, so Fly won't be able to get that. He will get himself that illusion, but honestly, illusions don't give any experience, and well, Fly just lost himself a Taskmaster, which did drop a sentry ward, or 2 sentry wards, which will be very beneficial to not only spot the Blade Master, but of course spot anything. Anyway, tier 2 has been completed, and we have a Turn Chieftain coming out for Fly. Yeah, I don't necessarily get the Turn Chieftain all that much. Of course, if he gets himself that War Stomp, very, very cool. Of course, Endurance Aura is much needed on these Orc units as well, especially if it's stacked with the Kodo Beasts. But yeah, I don't know. Compared to the Shadowhunter is like more reliable at getting results at least. Turn Chieftain, he kind of gets there, but he can, of course, just fall short, I think. Either way, Turn Chieftain will be coming out as second hero. Most likely we'll get that Endurance Aura first, help this Blade Master as well as these Grunts, maybe. But yeah, not working too well for Fly just yet. He got himself a little bit blundered there by the Death Knight. WC did get a Creepjack, which therefore got himself that level 3, further, you know, showing that this this early graveyard play, which led to a very late hero, did not actually hinder WFZ too much. Fly is going to try and deal some damage, but since he has like 5 Crep Fiends constantly hitting his Blade Master, yeah, he probably should reconsider. They do tend to hurt after a little while. Anyway, Turn Chieftain did pick up that +3 intelligence. But other than that, no other significant item. Blade Master also has +3 intelligence. Maybe should give that one to the Turn Chieftain. Blade Master doesn't always use his mana, but of course if he does, then it's most likely for that Wind Walk to get out of there. We have of course seen many times that the Blade Master fails to escape because he does not have enough mana for a Wind Walk, but I'm pretty sure most of that scenario is against a Night Elf player where Demon Hunters burn mana. We do have a Lich out as the second hero who does have +6 claws. There we go, level 2 Death Coil to heal up that Crit Fiend. Almost full health. We do have Frost Armor as well, trained up there by the Lich, so it will very discourage the Blade Master from getting further kills. Kobold was, I believe, stolen by the Blade Master, but of course it is only a level 3 creep monster, so it doesn't actually reward that much experience. Skeletons trying to harass, meanwhile the Turn Chieftain trying to get to that level 2 as quickly as possible, getting himself that greater mana potion. What does he have as his second ability, I wonder? I really wonder, because War Stomp, I guess if he chose War Stomp it would be a suitable substitute for the Shadowhunter, but if he has Shockwave, yeah, it would deal a decent amount of damage, but he did pick War Stomp and he's going to try and pick up as many kills as possible, which does not seem to be the case, as only a couple of skeletons were taken out. TP Scroll was used by WFZ at least. But yeah, Obsidian statues are starting to come out for WFZ. At least number 1 is out already. So yeah, Kodo Beast is completed. We have number 1. Will we have number 2 fairly soon? Who knows? Fly is actually at 50 supply, so he won't be able to hire any more units unless he wants to go over upkeep. We do have a Dark Ranger out as the 3rd hero, and the Death Coil was used to pick up a Raider, so yeah, Death Knight is maybe a little... That was a probably a double-edged sword kind of move there, as of course he is now forced to use that mana potion since he did use his last death coil to heal, not to heal up, to assassinate the raider. We do have one of the Grip Fiends inside that Kodo Beast at least, so Fly is taking advantage of the benefits of having a Kodo Beast. We actually have WFZ pulling off a couple of ghouls as well. I have noticed that for players who did go this particular opening. Anyway, Destroy form is nearly done. +1 attack is also on its way. WFZ almost playing all-in-ish. Bringing those ghouls does seem to indicate something like that, but, well, he didn't bring all those ghouls, I guess. Being 50 over 50 as well, that does also give a lot of reason to try for an all-in, since you may never know if your opponent is also 50-50. Death Coil able to heal up this Crypt Fiend. Of course, Frost Armor is doing its best, but since it's being completely surrounded by Orc units, it's fairly difficult. Turn Chieftain was deterred away as he was silenced by the Dark Ranger. The Kodo Beast number 2, which was the replacement of the first one, could be taken out there, and yes, he will be, and that will be no Warsong Battle Drums for the Orc army, and that is going to be the Turn Chieftain taken out. Rather unfortunate that silence was cast upon him before that War Stomp was able to go off, but to be honest, WFZ did have a significant army, so one War Stomp wasn't going to cut it. So GG from Fly, and that will be game for WFZ. Let's just hurry up with this one, as I would definitely like to finish game 2 as well. So yeah.